the symphony.
Hello, and welcome to MU Inked, a podcast dedicated to the stories behind people's tattoos. I am your host, Dr. Matt Walsh. I am an assistant professor of social work here at Marian University, and I don't have any tattoos.
And I am your guest, Sabrina Staub. I am an assistant professor of social work here at Marian University, and I have 10 tattoos.
All right, so in this podcast, we hear from students, faculty, and staff as they talk about their tattoos, the meaning behind them, what led them to get their tattoos, and other fun details and tidbits along the way. So today we have Sabrina. And Sabrina, how long have you been here at Marian?
This is my 7th year full-time here at Marian. I was an adjunct before that, and in a whole nother career before that, I was an administrative assistant here for a couple of years.
All right. So thinking back to this most recent stint at Marian with the social work program, kind of what drew you to the university?
I have always appreciated the Franciscan values, and when I became a social worker and learned about the social work values, the parallels between the Franciscan values and the social work values made me feel like there really should be a social work program here at Marian. So.
Yeah, before coming here, I didn't really know the Franciscan values, but then upon learning about them, oh, these really are social work values.
Mm-hmm.
It does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an easy fit. Yeah. All right, so real fast, what's your favorite thing about the program?
Ooh, about our program is the students.
Mm-hmm.
They are wonderful and entertaining and caring, and they teach me new stuff every day.
Yeah, me too. They are great. Okay, so let's now get to the focus of this show, which is talking about your tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
So you said 10, which is a lot. You have the new record for the episodes for this show. So why don't you start telling me a little bit about all of them, each of them? You can kind of pick how you want to go about it.
Sure. So I got my first tattoo when I was 18, so that was 28 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I have older cousins and an older sister, and they all got tattoos, and I could not wait until I turned 18 because I wanted one as well. And so I got my first one when I was 18, what we would just refer to now as flash. You go in, you find a picture on the wall and say, I want that one. And they tattoo it wherever you want. They would make adjustments, like in the colors of my first one, which is it's a butterfly on my ankle. They made adjustments to the colors. I wanted more purple and less blue and green. So.
Okay. So did you go in with any idea of what you wanted?
I knew I wanted a butterfly.
Okay. But a specific
It was the
type.
90s.
Yeah. And did you think ankle for sure, or was that also kind of like a...
I don't remember. I think I wanted it on my ankle because it would be easy to show people.
Mm-hmm.
My sister got hers on her hip, which was impossible to show people really, and my other cousin got hers on her chest, and so they were places I felt like were not as easy for other people to see them, and I wanted people to be able to see them.
Yeah,
so.
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get to probably more of your tattoos here in a little bit, but I have been finding this really interesting on the episodes because there's been a lot of people that have gotten them around 18, when you first do it. Now, so did you tell people you were going to, your parents, for example, did you tell them? Okay.
No.
So that seems to be the theme.
No,
did you
I
hide
did
it from
not.
them too?
I did. I successfully hid my tattoos from my mother specifically for 2 or 3 years. And I got multiple tattoos in those 2 or 3 years, and I managed to hide them all from her.
Okay. Now, what was the reasoning behind that?
She was just really judgmental. So she knew I got a tattoo. I just wouldn't let her see it. And I remember her saying to me, well, I don't want to see it. I just want to know what it is and where it is. And I said, no, if you don't want to see it, you don't really want to know those things. And so she decreed that I was trailer trash once I got my first tattoo. The following year, I got another tattoo, and I also got my belly button pierced, and I became barbaric trailer trash.
Oh, you took it up a notch.
I did, yeah. So, no, I did not tell her or show her at all.
Okay. Now, does a butterfly have any significance for you, the meaning behind that?
I have always liked butterflies because of the idea of regeneration. So I melt into a pile of goo and become something better. is kind of the way I look at it.
Okay. All right, and that's just the first one.
That was the
so, let's keep going. And did you go with your cousins and all that
Yes.
stuff too? So it was like a group thing, and
Yes.
were you the only one getting a tattoo, or were they all getting them, like their extra ones or added
I
ones?
was the only one. Yeah.
'Cause
so
now
it
you
was a
could.
special trip just for me.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
All right, so telling me about some of the other ones too.
I went back a year later, got another tattoo on my back, another butterfly, and got the belly button pierced at the same shop. They did both. I also got a tattoo on the top of my foot. I can't remember I think it was that same year. Just a tiny ladybug, and that was a matching tattoo with my best friend at the time. So we both got little ladybug tattoos on our feet. And then it was several years before I got another one. And that one came after I was actually engaged, and my fiance called off the wedding like 5 weeks before. Like invitations had already gone out. It was a whole thing. And so I felt like I needed a little like personal oomph, something to make me feel like I could get through it. And so I went, and again, this was the early 2000s. You got to keep that in mind. And so at that time, it was very trendy to do the like Japanese symbols instead of real words or pictures. And so I got a tattoo of the Japanese symbol for strength. But that one is on my butt cheek, and nobody ever sees that. But I did that on purpose. I didn't want anyone to see that one. That one was just for me.
Yeah. So what is it about like a tattoo that can give you that oomph?
You know, I think for me, it depends. So for that one, it was, you know, I'm going through something painful, but I can get through it. And so getting a tattoo is painful, and I can get through it. So for me, that was kind of the parallel that I drew with that.
Okay. That makes sense. Now, is that a session that you bring a bunch of people with, or is that like...
I did go with a friend of mine. She was there kind of as moral support. She wanted to get other things pierced, and I was like, no thanks. I'm just going to go with the tattoo. So, and then it was, I think around 2019, when the second butterfly that I got on my shoulder had started to fade quite a bit. And it was another one of those flash tattoos. Up until that point, I had never really asked an artist to design something for me or do much other than maybe adjust colors. And so I decided to do kind of a cover-up on the old butterfly. And I had the artist develop a picture that involved my children's birth flowers. And then also I wanted all the phases of the metamorphosis. So I have a caterpillar, a chrysalis, and then she redid the butterfly.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, just to kind of symbolize the changes that I've gone through since I got that first tattoo, you know, or that second one many, many years ago. And I also wanted to include my kids because they're a big part of why I changed and who I am now.
Yeah,
so I
that
wanted
makes
their
sense.
birth flowers.
Now, see, I didn't even know there were birth flowers. I know like birth stones, but there's
Yeah,
birth...
there's flowers, usually at least 2 flowers for every month.
Oh, okay.
So my kids
what are the
August
flowers?
and January. So I have a peony for August and a chrysanthemum for January.
Okay. Now you say that. I don't know what those look like, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you ever get nervous with something like that? I've been like, you know, I hope this artist knows how to draw this flower. And like, does that come into mind?
It does, which is why I only go to artists that I research. So I look at like their portfolio and make sure that I like the work that they do. And I prefer to go to artists that I can talk to someone who has been to that artist. So they can tell me about the artist's personality and what the experience of getting tattooed by that person is like. Because the one on my back with the birth flowers and all that, that was a good 8-hour session.
Like 8 hours straight?
8 hours straight. It's
like-
a very large tattoo.
It's like the whole day.
Yeah, it was the whole day. And then I got another one about a year later. No, yeah, it was about a year later. It is a phoenix, and in its claws it is holding lots of flowers. So I again went with the birth flowers theme. But these are birth flowers for my dad, my sister, my husband, and all my nieces and nephews. So again, for me, it was kind of I'm going through something rough, and I'm going to rise out of it. But I like the symbolism as I get older of the phoenix more than the butterfly because sometimes there's the burn And that's the part that really hurts. And I think a lot of people like to idealize a phoenix and the idea of rising from the ashes without considering the burn, the part that really hurts. So that's why I chose that this time. And that one, the initial session was 8 hours. And then I got it right before the pandemic. And then, of course, with the pandemic, I had to cancel my follow-up appointment to get it finished. But I did finally, 5 years later, just get it finished this summer. I got all the flowers filled in. The phoenix was done. The flowers were outlined.
Okay.
And I got the flowers filled in this summer, and that was another 4 hours. So I've got about 20 hours of work just on my back.
Yeah. And all from the same person? Or
Yes.
Oh, wow. So, couple questions. So when you think about like a tattoo artist's like personality, like what are you looking for?
Somebody who can appreciate the symbolism of what I want and why I'm getting it. Somebody who wants to talk to me about why this. What does it mean to you? And, somebody that I feel like I can sit and have an 8-hour conversation with. Because although we don't talk the whole time, that's a long time to spend with somebody.
It's a very long time to spend with somebody. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So yeah, you definitely want to be comfortable. And I would think too, granted, never having a tattoo, but like to be like doing that and being uncomfortable, even if it was like for like 5 to 10 minutes, like I don't think I would like that. But like 8 hours, like yeah, you want to be like physically comfortable, like social, emotional, like all those things I feel like would come into play.
Yeah. And she's great. I love her. So
That's good. Now, so for the Phoenix, I know you're a Harry Potter fan. Like,
Yes.
Is that how you kind of started with Phoenixes, or is that
Yes.
just okay?
Yeah, that's how I kind of started. I don't have any other Harry Potter related tattoos. Now, my cousin, one of the ones that originally took me to get my first tattoo, she has what she refers to as her Harry Potter arm. So she's got several tattoos just on that one arm that are Harry Potter themed. But so far, the Phoenix is the only thing that I have that's Harry Potter themed.
Okay. And that may or may not be Harry Potter themed. Like, it's still like a
Right.
Phoenix is still a Phoenix, but I think I know it from Harry Potter too.
Yes. Kind of popularized it, I think.
I think for sure. And I like that idea of like the burn. Like, that is a little different than like the butterfly. Like, it is just a different transformation.
Yeah.
Maybe even like a more realistic one when you actually stop and think about it. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, and I know you have an elephant on your arm too with some hearts.
I do. I have an elephant. So I had an uncle that passed away, and he had Alzheimer's. And he passed away, I know this sounds silly, but kind of suddenly. It was an unexpected event. And so the day of his funeral, my cousins, same cousins, and I all went and got tattoos. And so I got an elephant because, the elephant never forgets. And so that's a symbol of like the Alzheimer's Association. And so the elephant, it's like blowing heart-shaped bubbles out of its trunk. And I have 3 of them. One for my uncle who had Alzheimer's, and then I had an aunt that had kind of just dementia issues toward the end, and my grandmother also had pretty severe dementia. So I got that one. That was also in 2020. And then I have a series of little ones around my wrist, and they're all heart-themed. And a couple of them are my favorite because I was invited by our graduating class of 2023 to go get tattoos with them. It was just a random thing. I walked into the lounge one day, and they were like, Sabrina, we're going to go get matching tattoos. Do you want to come? And I was honored to be asked. And so I was like, of course. And I ended up going twice because we couldn't, of course, get everybody together all at once. So I have 2 different ones, and they are Black Heart themed because that was our running joke, right? Hashtag dead inside. When you're a social worker, you have to kind of learn to turn that part off. And then, so that was in 23. And then this summer, I got 2 more hearts added. One is for my friend Amber, and it's actually her handwriting. It was a card that she signed, and it has an A in the top of the heart for Amber. And then she passed away in 2022. She had skin cancer. And then I got another one this summer with my roommates from my doctoral program. This was our last residency together. So every year for 2 weeks, we had to live in a dorm together and go to class every day. And so we got matching tattoos. So it's a heart, and then there's 3 little birds, kind of.
Yeah.
on the edge of it.
And does those three birds represent
The three of us.
The three.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got tons of questions for you.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of the order, but like, so when you do like a matching tattoo, so you've got like those hearts, your ladybugs. Like, how does that work with people? Like, does someone initially come up with an idea, or like, how do you? Because obviously, multiple people are going to get the same thing on their bodies. So ideally, everyone likes it. But how does that conversation work?
So for the black heart themed ones, we all kind of went with the idea of a black heart, but everybody got kind of a slight variation of it. So there's one that I have that there was one of the students that got the exact same thing, only a little bit bigger on her arm. But we all kind of just agreed black heart, but in whatever configuration that you wanted. And so that's kind of where we went with that one. And then the one with my roommates from this summer, we just looked at several different designs, and then we liked pieces of a couple different ones, so we just asked the artist to adjust it to what we wanted.
Okay.
So getting people to agree on matching tattoos is hard. 2 people was easy when I got the ladybug. 3 people was fairly easy, but when it was the whole group of students and myself, obviously everybody wanted something a little different.
Yeah.
So we put that flexibility in there. So.
No, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then it's nice that there's that common theme, but it's still that kind of like each gets to express their own personality a little bit, and that makes a lot of sense. How do you decide on a location? Like, it sounds like, so ankles, like, yeah, I can hide this easier. The butt, like, oh, that's just for me. But like the wrist, the forearm, like, or like the arm, like, how do you decide on that location?
I went with my right wrist for several reasons. I was thinking when you greet someone and you reach out to shake their hand, they're going to see that right away. And I feel like, especially as I get older, my tattoos are a big part of who I am, and I don't feel like I need to hide them anymore. And so I wanted them in a prominent place. The elephant I wanted on the inside of my arm here because it was close to my heart. So that's why I chose that one. And then the ones on my back, that's just the largest space that the artist has to work with. So I wanted to give her plenty of room. They're very large tattoos.
Yes. Well, it seems like all your tattoos are very meaningful to you, and kind of like either like a remembrance or like events, people. You don't seem to have a bunch of like, oh, I just have this random one.
No.
So how long do you sit like with a tattoo idea? Like the elephant one, for example, like were you thinking, I know that it was sudden, so maybe you didn't have that much time to think about it, but like, are you sitting with these for a while? Like, are they mulling over in your head? Like, how does that, before they even get to the artist, like what goes on in your process?
So I think probably the bigger ones, yes. I spent probably several weeks thinking about exactly what I wanted them to look like, and putting together different pieces. So I just kind of go on the internet and I start searching images and I find things that are similar to what I want. And then I turn them over to the artist and I say, here's some ideas. Here's how I want it put together and what I want it to look like. And then she will draw it up or piece it all together and send it to me and say, how does this look? And it'll go back and forth. So for the larger ones, probably I would say several weeks go into those. Like I said, I've got my teenager designing a couple for me now, and so I've put a lot of thought into what I want those to look like. But the smaller ones, a lot of times, sometimes it just hits me. Sometimes I just go, ooh, you know what's like, and I've got a gap on my wrist now because I've got heart tattoos all the way around except
gotta
for
fill
here.
it.
And I was like, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to put here. So my brother-in-law was killed in an accident a couple years ago, and he loved the Texas Longhorns. So they've got that distinctive orange color. And the hearts that I have on my wrist in color so far are purple and green, which are 2 of my favorite colors. Orange is also one of my favorites. So I'm just going to add another heart there to fill that in. So it's like a bracelet of hearts. And that one will be orange for him. So
Nice. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. 'Cause as soon as you said that, you got that gap. I'm like, oh, yeah.
I do a little gap there. But
Yeah.
I'll fill it in, don't worry.
There you go. Have you ever been like disappointed when you've had a tattoo? And you're like, ooh, I don't like that as much as I thought I would?
I was when I got the elephant. So fun story. I got that in 2020. So I would have been 42 years old. The woman that did it was the same woman that did my first tattoo when I was 18.
Oh, wow.
And she should probably retire. So when she did it, the lines were not even, and I was a little disappointed in how it looked. Like what it was, I wasn't disappointed at all, but the way she did it, it did not look great. And then when I went with my students to get this first one on my wrist, the guy was looking at it like he couldn't help but see it the whole time he was like, "Do you want me to even some of that up for you?" And so free of charge, he just kind of smoothed out some of the lines and improved it.
nice.
So I'm a lot happier with this one now. I do eventually want to get it shaded in, though. I want it to be shaded gray, and then I want colors in the hearts. But I'm a color tattoo.
What
kind of
colors
person.
would the hearts be?
So blue for my uncle that had Alzheimer's because he was a huge Cowboys fan, and orange for my Aunt Jane. That was her favorite color, and then yellow for my grandmother. That was her favorite color.
Makes sense.
Yellow's hard, but
Yeah.
my skin seems to hold it okay.
Okay. Very interesting. I find it really interesting that like you've got several tattoos for like family and loved ones. You go with family a lot, and then yet like your mother had a very strong reaction to your tattoos.
Yeah.
It seems like it seems like you come from a tattoo family though, but not everyone.
Not everyone, yes. So these particular cousins were the ones that my mom always felt like were bad influences on my sister and I. So, but I have to say, out of all the family members that I have, they're still my closest friends. So they're the cousins. Anyone who knows me knows I go to Kansas at least 3 times a year, and those are the people I'm going to visit. So,
Yeah. So it's nice. It's good.
it is.
They weren't bad influences.
No,
or
not at
maybe a
all.
little, but like they're still there. Like
Maybe
they're
a little.
Any other like strong reactions from people?
I don't think so. At least none that people have actually shared with me. And I know, I think one of my mom's biggest concerns when I was young is that tattoos are not seen as professional, right? Or they make you look trashy, right? I think has been that kind of conception of tattoos for a long time. But I feel like, again, number one, as I get older, I care less about what other people think. But I also think that just society in general is much more accepting of tattoos now. And I don't think that people look at someone with tattoos and say, oh, that person is unprofessional. I don't think that's so much a thing anymore. So.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, not really a big thing. What do your kids think when you get a new tattoo?
Oh, they love it. So the elephant that's not colored in yet, one of my 7-year-old's favorite things to do is get markers and color it in.
Oh.
So it's like a coloring book on my skin. She really enjoys doing that. So.
That's fun.
They always want to see as soon as I get them done. Let me see. So.
Yeah. Well, if you could go back and do any of them differently, would you change any of the tattoos or any of the experiences that you had getting them?
I don't think so. It would have been a less of a gap between finishing the phoenix and the flowers. But when there's a pandemic and then life gets crazy, it just 5 years elapsed. But fortunately, my skin holds color pretty well, so I was afraid there would be like a big noticeable fade in the phoenix, and then the flowers would be super bright, but that has not been the case.
Okay. Good deal.
But other than that, no, I don't think I would change anything.
Okay. What are you going to say if in a couple of years your oldest wants to get some tattoos?
Oh, I'm surprised they haven't asked already. At 17, with my permission, they could get tattoos, and I would let them. And I think primarily, my sister and I both talked about this. Again, we lost my brother-in-law in a car accident. We also lost my youngest niece. And so her sisters have been thinking about memorial tattoos, and my eldest child has been thinking about them. And I want them to take their time. But if my kid came to me and said, I want a memorial tattoo for Georgia, in a heartbeat,
And right away.
I would absolutely okay that.
Yeah.
Making sure it's not anything stupid looking, of course. But
Yeah. And I would seriously doubt that it would. I bet it would be good and meaningful to them. And
yeah.
yeah. I always ask people if they're going to get more. I already know that you are.
Yes.
Do you think would there be any spot on your body that you're like, I'm not going to get a tattoo there?
Honestly, I tend to stay away from spots where they're not visible at all. Because again, it's part of who I am. I think they're good conversation pieces. I'm proud of them, and I don't want to hide them. So for the most part, I just avoid places where it's going to always be covered up, except if it's just for me.
Yeah. Well, makes sense. Well, you've got 10 of them. Is that one of them is just for you?
Right.
Makes
Got
sense.
the one that's just for me.
All right. So if you could give a tattoo to anyone in your life and they had to get it, what would you have them get, and who would you pick?
That's a good question. There's part of me that wants to say my mother.
That's okay. I have to say, so like I've granted, like you're going to be my 5th episode, so I've asked this to 4 people, and that seems to be an internal struggle. And I say struggle, it's not really a struggle, but you can tell people debate it, and some of them even vocalize it verbally, like, "Ooh, do I want to be really nice, or do I want to like get revenge, or like be like a little like poke somebody a little bit?" And so so yeah. Potentially your mom, because she doesn't. I'm assuming she doesn't have any.
No.
What would you make it be?
Maybe just like a smiley face or something. Just something really small and simple. Just, I don't know. Just on principle, I guess, as a thank you for the judgment. The other one I think would be my husband. He doesn't have any tattoos.
I was going to ask.
And he never intends to get any. And I think at one point even vocalized out loud, like he said, "I never envisioned myself being with someone that had tattoos." Like it just was something he never saw in his future. So here I am with 10 of them and still going.
I was going to say, 10 and counting.
He's not real sure what to think about it.
Yeah. What would you make him get?
Ooh. I always say you shouldn't tattoo somebody's name on you, but I might make him tattoo my name on him, or at least my initials or something.
Where would you put it? Like, would it be like the classic here? Would you put it on his wrist?
Right over his heart.
Oh, yeah. See, he can't get mad at that. All right. When I was telling my family that I was doing this, my oldest daughter, well, my only daughter, but she's my oldest, was like, "Oh, you should like," and then my son got into this too. He's like, "You should ask all your guests, and you should like have a survey and a poll, and then you have to get a tattoo at the end of the year." I'm like, I don't think that many people are listening, but they knew you were coming on, and my wife said the same thing, like, "Oh, just ask people what they think you should get, and then maybe you should get one." So if you had to give a tattoo to me, what would it be, and where would you make me have it?
So my brain is immediately going to something for you. It would be some kind of symbol of a quiet strength, not like a harsh or a brash kind of display of strength, but something subtle. So I'm in my brain going through like animals in the animal kingdom, something that could represent quiet kind of strength and leadership. I feel like the wolf is overdone.
Yeah.
That is kind of a good symbol. You know what I mean?
I don't think I would pick that for me at all. I was like, I don't think I'm that's like, yeah. That was like too masculine or something.
Well, people talk about like, alpha male and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, in wolf packs, the alpha is the one behind everyone else. It's not the one out leading the pack. It's the one behind, making sure nobody falls behind and that everybody is going where they need to go. And to me, that's kind of, I see you in that role in a lot of ways.
Well, that's very sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, I don't know. Again, I feel like the wolf is overdone and people kind of see wolf tattoos and roll their eyes. But I think if it's done tastefully, and it would obviously have to go like on your bicep for sure. But you always wear long sleeve shirts, so nobody would ever see it.
Yeah, no one would know. Yeah. All right. I feel like those are the questions I wanted to ask you. I know we covered a lot of different tattoos. Oh, let me ask you this too, and I'm super curious about this answer. Do you have a favorite of your tattoos?
The phoenix. Just because the colors that she used in it were quite unexpected. So obviously you expect like reds and oranges and yellows. She threw in like a turquoise color that is just stunning, and it really gives it a pop. It was an unexpected color, and I really, really like it a lot.
Did you know she was going to do that before, like?
No.
Okay, so you do have a lot of trust in her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see her go for that, and you're like, what are you doing there?
No, not at all. She gives me like a black and white outline, and I just kind of trust her to fill it in the right colors. And I mean, she's the artist. I'm not an artist, so I don't know. But she knew exactly what she needed to do to make it pop, and it looks really cool. That's nice. I like the idea of going in to her tattoo and not to be like, oh, do whatever you want, but to give some leeway. Because I think it's like, like you said, like it acknowledges that, they're the artist, they know. But also in life, it's like we don't have to control everything. If we, let other people take the lead sometimes that have a certain strength that we don't, we are sometimes very surprised but pleased by the outcome. I like to find meaning in things. And I think like
tattoos are very, especially the ones that are very meaningful when they tell a story. I think there's multiple layers that you can use to be like, oh, this is a good reminder of this, and unexpectedly, this.
Right.
So
It's okay sometimes to not have total control.
it is, and it came out really, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're happy with the results, and you wouldn't have done that yourself. And it's
Right,
like, oh,
no.
and it's probably better than what you would have picked.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's nice.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, so it was wonderful getting to talk to you about all this stuff. And so I will put this out for anyone who's listening. If you want to challenge Sabrina, because she's now the record holder. So if you have 11 tattoos and you want to be on this podcast,
more.
yes, or more, please contact me. Find me on campus. Send me an email. If you just have 2, but they're really meaningful and you want to talk about it, please. I love hearing people's tattoo stories, looking for more episodes. So thank you, Sabrina, for coming on, and thank you, everyone, for listening.
The symphony